Hi everyone, Sunday Coffee here, and it's great to be joining you all on the Sunday evening. Alright, so I'm just going to give it a few minutes for you folks to join in, and then we are going to get started. Alright, so I've seen people are starting to join in. Great evening to you. Thanks for joining in today's meetup. We're going to be taking a look at the Gutenberg block editor. So we're just going to give it a few minutes for other people to join in, and then we are going to get started. Hi, I can see a few people are joining in. That's really great. We'll be getting started in a few minutes. Let's just give other people a few minutes to join in, and then we are going to dive right in. All right, so if you're joining in, today we'll be taking a look at the new WordPress editor, which is known as Gutenberg. It's a block editor, and in a few minutes I'm going to give you a rundown of what it is, what it's about, and why you should be using the new editor. I'll also be showing you how to use the new editor. So you can say this is an all-in-one meetup or webinar on the new WordPress block editor. Or if you're joining us live, let me know if you can hear me. Where are you joining in from? Are you joining in from the WordPress Nigeria Community Facebook group? This live stream is also streamed to my personal Facebook group, and it's also streamed to my YouTube channel, so more people can join in. So where are you joining in from? Leave a comment and let me know. Can you hear me? Is my video clear? Is my audio clear? Again, this is for you, so it's important that you can hear me and you can see me clearly. So leave a comment letting me know that you can hear me and you can see me clearly, so we can dive right in. As you can see, I'm so glad to be here with you this Sunday evening, and my name also happens to be Sunday, so it's a Sunday with Sunday. Don't go anywhere. We're going to get started in a few minutes. Let's just allow a few people to join in, and also drop your comment, the feedback. Let me know they can hear me and you can see me very well. So if I need to do any adjustments, I can do that right away. Thank you for joining in. Alright, so while I wait for your feedback, I'm just going to go through my my setup, and just take a look, quickly go through what I have planned for you today. So leave a comment, let me know where you're joining in from and if you can hear and see me. Right, so far I can't see any comments, so drop your comment, let me know that you can see and you can hear me. Alright, great. Leo Uta just says he's joining in from Uyo, Nigeria, and audio is clear. Thank you, Leo, if you're joining in from other locations. So let me know if you can see and if you can hear me and how the audio quality is at your location, so we can get started. Again, this is for you, so it's very important that I'm sure that you can hear and you can see me clearly. So we'll be getting started in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere, just hold on. I have a whole lot planned for you. We'll be taking a look at the new WordPress Gutenberg editor. If you don't know what WordPress is, and if you don't know what the editor even is, that's the more reason for you to wait, so you can learn about all that. And if you know about the new editor but you don't know how to use it, or you feel that the whole editor is better than the new editor, just give me a few moments. Let me run you through the new editor, and you'll be amazed with what you can do with it. So what you will notice is that some part of this meetup I will be looking at my laptop, and some part I will be looking at the camera. I have to look at my laptop because I have to be able to show you practically how this is done. If you know me, you know I take the practical approach, so I won't be talking for a long time. Shortly, I'm just going to dive into my WordPress setup, and then I'm going to run you through the new editor and how you can use it, so you can be rest assured that you're going to learn something new in today's meetup. So don't go anywhere. Hold on and invite your friends. You can mention them in the comment, let them join in, and keep leaving comment. Let me know that you can hear me and you can see me clearly, so we can get started. Thank you for joining in. All right, so Socrates says, I can see you, sir. All right, so I want to show some of the comments on screen. Can you see the comment on screen? My setup is supposed to allow you to be able to see the comments on screen. So Socrates says he can see me. All right, that's great to know. I have Leo here who's joining in from Uyo, and Leo says he can. Leo says the audio is clear. Awesome. Thank you guys. We'll be getting started shortly. Don't go anywhere, just give me a moment and we'll get started. All right, so if you're on the WordPress Nigeria community Facebook group, I need to know that you can see and hear me from there, because that's the main platform for this live stream. So are you joining in from the WordPress Nigeria community Facebook group? Let me know if you can see or if you can hear me, because that's the main channel we are using for today's meetup. All right, so I can see that it shows here that the live stream is up. So are you joining in from there? Let me know. All right, awesome. So I think I've gotten a few feedback, and everyone seems to say they can see and they can hear me audibly. So we are just going to get started. All right, so if you don't know me, Son the Cafe is my name. I'm a WordPress professional and an active contributor to the WordPress community. In today's meetup, our topic is getting started with the Gutenberg block editor. And if you don't know what that is, when we talk about the block editor or we talk about Gutenberg, we are simply referring to the same thing, and I'll be using both words interchangeably. So the Gutenberg block editor is simply the new WordPress editor. So before WordPress 5. Before the current versions of WordPress, if you're an old WordPress user, you would have been familiar with the classic editor, which was simple and straight to the point. So in later versions of WordPress released a new editor which is known as Gutenberg. It's a block editor basically because it uses different blocks, and it's actually amazing. And I'm not just going to be telling you that, I'm going to be showing you what makes it amazing, what makes it special, and why you should be using it. And if also I feel that if you're looking at getting into WordPress, I feel this gives you an opportunity to get in. The reason being that we in the WordPress ecosystem, we are all also trying to learn how to use it and how to develop plugins and extensions from it, because it's new to everyone, so everyone is learning to use it. But it's amazing, and I'm not just going to be telling you that. I'm just going to go into my WordPress dashboard, and then I'm going to show you what makes it really amazing. All right, so Gutenberg is simply the new WordPress editor. And in WordPress, when we talk about editor, we are talking about the interface where you edit your post or where you edit a page. So if you've ever created a post or a page in WordPress, it simply means you've used the WordPress editor. All right, so let me quickly log into our demo site for today, and then I'm going to quickly show you what I mean, and then we're going to create a post and then a page with the new editor. So, but what you're going to do for me is, at any point that it feels like you can hear me clearly or you can see me clearly, you just leave a comment so I can take a look at my settings. Of course, you know, to do a webinar like this, I have to do a little setup, and with this technical setups, something can go wrong basically any point in time, but I'm sure nothing is going to go wrong. So if you can hear me at any point, please let me know so I can quickly adjust my setup. I can see that a few people are joining in. Welcome, it's great to have you all joining. So we're just getting started. So if you're just joining in, you are in luck. All right, so I'm going to need a few seconds to load up my demo site and share my screen so we can dive into this. Give me a moment, I'm trying to share my screen. All right, I needed to do away with one of me. All right, so can you see my screen? You should be able to see my screen. All right, so I have a WordPress local installation here, which has the latest version of WordPress installed, and I'll be using it for today's demo. All right, so for the benefit of those who are just joining in, I'm going to just quickly do a quick recap. So what we're looking at today is getting started with the Gutenberg block editor. So if you don't know what that is simply the new WordPress editor, and this is going to be a practical meetup. It's going to be hands-on, so I'm going to just dive in, and then I'm going to show you how what it looks like and how to use it. So to use the WordPress editor, like I said earlier, if you've ever created a post or a page in WordPress, it means you've used the editor. And it could have been that while when you created it, you probably used the whole editor. So I'm going to show you the new editor. So to get to the editor, whenever you're creating a post or a page, that's where you see the editor. So we're just going to do a new post, and you can see right here, once you open it up for the first time, it's going to give you this welcome screen, which tells you welcome to the block editor. So like I said earlier, if I sell the block editor, I'm still referring to the Gutenberg editor. So that is used interchangeably. It's a block editor, but it's actually also called Gutenberg. So you can say, yes, as in the WordPress editor, each paragraph, image, or video is presented as a discrete block of content, and that is why it's called the block editor. So this just gives you a tip when you're using the editor for the first time. You can see this is a new setup I did on my system on local host. So if I do next, it's going to give me another tip. So it says make each block your own, and if you read the description, it says each block comes with its own set of controls for changing things like color, width, alignment. This will show and hide automatically when you have a block selected. So one of the things that makes the new editor really amazing is that if you've created any content, once you click on that content within editor, you're going to see new set of options by the right hand sidebar here, which is where my cursor is. Just follow my cursor, and then you're going to see settings that controls that block. So for like a paragraph block, you will see settings to change the color of the paragraph, to do some few adjustments. You can change the color, you can change the font size, which is something that was not doable before with the whole editor, maybe without having to install some extra plugins that enhance the whole editor. So if you do next, it's going to give you another tip. Get to know the block library, which is the icon here that you click, and then it just shows you all the different blocks that we have. So the block library is this. Once you click this icon, it loads the block library. So you can see all of the blocks available to you live in the block library. You find it wherever you see the plus icon. So wherever you see the plus icon, you click, it's going to just load the block library, which is going to show you the different blocks. All right, and if you do next, it's going to give you another tip. It says learn how to use the block editor, and then it leads to a documentation on the WordPress block editor. All right, so you can click this X at any time to close this tips menu or this welcome menu, or you just click get started if you've reached the end, so whichever you want. All right, so this is where we refer to as the editor, and that's simply where you create a content, which could be a post or a page in WordPress. So for this, I'm just going to put a title, so I'm just going to call it example title, or I think I'm just going to call this getting started with the WordPress block editor. So if you're just joining in, this is our topic for today. This is what we'll be looking at. All right, so remember when we're going through the welcome screen, it said to open the blog library, you just click this plus icon. So you can see here, once you click this, it's going to load the blog library. The blog library is where the different blogs are. So before, in the WordPress editor, once you click, you could just start typing posts, and you normally okay, let me find a screenshot of the classic editor. All right, I don't have to go there. What I can do is, WordPress has a classic blog, which is great. So what a classic blog does is just to mimic the whole editor. So it's like I said, this is one of the things I find amazing about the new editor. So if you feel, oh, you don't like it, you want to go old school, you prefer the whole editor, even within the new editor, you can use the classic blog, which gives you an interface that looks like that of the whole editor. So you can be in the new editor and you are still formatting the same way you would with the new editor. So what we can do to show you how this works, we are going to just quickly create content with the blog editor. So I'm going to do, and I'm just going to grab some dummy text rather. So if you need a dummy text on the internet, what you need to do is to just go and get low-prem text, which is just going to generate some random strings of text for you. So I don't want this to take time. I don't want to sit down and be typing, so I'm just going to come here and then just type content. So here I can generate some random text. It's just like when you see a theme you like, you find out that there are random text there which are just placeholder. So I'm just going to copy this text, and then I'm going to come here. So I'm going to remove this and give us this run through from the start. All right. Okay, so if you want to create the real content, you find out that you're going to be writing some paragraph of text. With the new editor, the way you do that is different. You use a paragraph block. Now by default, once your cursor is clicking, by default you can just start typing to just start writing. So once you just start typing anything, automatically that uses the paragraph block. But you can also add the paragraph block by clicking on the plus sign and then selecting the paragraph block here. And then once you click on it, it's just going to give you that blinking cursor. Once you see your cursor blinking, you're on the paragraph block. So you can just start typing. So we can either type, our text here, or we can copy and paste. So since I've copied a text, I'm just going to just paste it in here. Okay, and notice something, because I'm on the paragraph block. If you look at the right hand side of my screen, I'm assuming you can still see my screen. Please, if at any point if you can see my screen, I'm sharing screen. If you can see it, let me know in the comment. And if you can see it, also let me know in the comments, so I'll know you can all see me. So if you look at this on the right hand side, it's giving me formatting options. So this says project size, so I can change the size of this text. So I can make it larger. I can also use the default font size. I can also put a custom font size. I can do 18. Okay, so that's one of the amazing thing about the new block editor. So as you're working with any block, you see the formatting options for that block. So let me quickly run through the interface. Okay, so here you see, once you're on a block, you're going to see the block formatting options. Once you click on any block, you're going to see the formatting options. For this is a paragraph block, so it's going to show you what type of block you're on, that you're on a paragraph block, and gives you a little description of that. And then you're going to see formatting options for that block. So for this, since this is a paragraph block for writing text, you can see this, the project size is simply the font size. So I can select anyone, small, regular, large, larger. I can also give it a custom size, and then I can click on this to give me color settings. So I can change the color here. So you've seen how amazing this is. So the new editor just simply gives you more control. So I can change the color right here. I can also clear this color. This clear button will just remove the color. I can also click here and enter a custom color, and I can put my color code. So they are what we call HTML color codes. If you Google the color codes, you can see that you can, all the colors actually have a code that you can copy. Like for this color here, if you click here, you see that this is the code for this color. So you can paste a custom color. So I can also set a background color for this text. So you see the background. So I can do a black background, and I can make my text color white so it will be visible. So you've seen how powerful the editor is. So it gives us a whole lot of control. I can do drop cap, which is something you normally would do in a Word editor, maybe like MS Word and the rest. So you can see word cap, which will just make the first word bigger. So it gives you more options, and then you also give this advanced, which allows you to put an HTML anchor and a CSS class. This is for people who can code, so you can give it this a custom class, and then you can style it with a few lines of CSS code. So this is amazing. Alright, so I'm going to just clear this and remove the drop cap, and then I'm going to add another block to demonstrate. So first, let me run through the interface. So you see on this interface, the most important thing you need to be aware of is this plus icon. So whenever you click it, it brings the block library, which loads all the different blocks, and I'm going to go through the different blocks and what they do. And so you can also be on, so let's say you're typing here and you need to create a space here. You could just hit your enter key, or if you're on a MacBook, you hit your return key, and then it's going to give you a new paragraph. And then you also see the plus icon here, which is simply the block library icon. And then once you load that up, it shows you the block library, which allows you to select the different blocks that you can use. Alright, so take note of something. I want you to look at my right sidebar. Take note of something. Once I'm on a blog here, or content that was created with a blog, you see that I see the blog options for this content. But if I'm outside here, I've not selected any blog. If I'm out of a blog, you notice that I'm in the document settings. So if you are used to the whole blog editor, you will be aware of this document settings. So the document settings is like where you set like your featured image for a post or a page, where you can put the category you want to put the post in, your permalink, and so on. So just in case you're looking for that, so by the right hand side here, if you're on a blog, you're going to see settings for that blog, and then this tab here, the document tab, shows you settings for this document in general. It's where you can adjust your permalink, which will be like the URL of the post. You can put the post in a category, you can put tags, you can set a featured image, you can set an accept, which is maybe like a short description for this post, and other document options. So the next thing I'm going to do is play around with another block. Alright, so I'm going to play around with another block, and before that, you can see this is save draft option, this is preview. If you want to preview what your post looks like, this is the publish, and this is the settings icon, which you can click and it just gives you some. And the last three dots at the right gives you some option that is related to this interface. So you can move to the code editor or the visual editor, just like in the classic editor that we had, the code editor and the visual editor. You can also get all that right here. And the spotlight mode, what it does is it just basically show you where you are on the document. So let's say I'm here you're going to see that here is going to be visible. Every other part of the page is going to be dimmed down. So it also helps me know where I am. I normally would like keeping this at the default. And then this option there for top toolbar, what this does is that, for instance, if you're on the paragraph block, once you're here, you notice that you are formatting elements are here, the formatting options are here. But once you enable this, top toolbar is going to add the options to the top of this interface. So if this runs to here and want it just down here, all what you need to do is to come click the top toolbar, and it's going to be where it is by default. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down and put my cursor here and then add another block. This time I'm going to add the image block like you would in a post. Most time when you're writing a content, you normally want to have an image here before the content. So I'm going to put an image here. With the new editor, to do that, what you have to do is to click this plus icon, either the one here to add a block or here. And since you want to add an image, what you want to go for is the image block. So you can see here that the blocks are divided into different categories. So you can say this is text, which has all the options you need to create a text. Let me quickly explain before I add an image. So the first here in the text category, you can see we have paragraph, which is what we are using here to create a paragraph of text, so lines of text. We have heading, the heading block, so you can be writing content and you can add an heading. We are going to use most of these, the ones you normally will use on a day-to-day basis, where I'm going to demonstrate how they work and how to use them. So we had an heading block, and we have the list block, which if you want to create the list content. Before in WordPress, if you wanted to do a list, we normally will have to do to install and activate the list plugin, but right now it's built into the editor with the new Gutenberg block editor. And there's a code block, and the code block to put some line of codes, maybe an embed code, or you just want to write some code. That's where you put that. You put your code snippets in there. The classic block, which gives you an interface that mimics the whole classic editor, so you can still write with the whole and format the same way you moved with the old editor. And then we have some other ones which are not really popular. You can see the table and the verse. We'll be using some of these. Okay, and in the media, you see we have the image block, which you could use to add image. We have the gallery block, which we could use to create a gallery. We have the audio block, which you could use to create an audio. The cover block, which also allows you to put an image. So the way that works is, so it allows you to add an image or video with a text overlay. So you can put a big image and then you can write text or put other blocks on top of it. So the file block for you to link to a downloadable file, and media and text. The good thing about this is that as you hover, it shows you a preview and then gives you a description of what this block is for. So there are other ones for design. So imagine that you have buttons here, so you can put a button in here. You can create columns, which is what you normally will get with page builders, but the new block editor allows you to create different columns, and then we're going to see how this works. The more block, which allows you to like split your text, so on. So someone will have to maybe like click read more to see the remaining part of the content. And the page break, the separator, and then the widget block, which allows you to add widgets. And then the embeds, which this is a general embed block. And we have Twitter embed, which allows you to embed a Twitter tweet. YouTube embed, which allows you to embed a YouTube video. Facebook embed, Instagram, WordPress, and tons of them. So I wanted to quickly give us a rundown of that. And in this interface, you can see we have patterns. So patterns are more like template. So you can get a template that is already there. So you click and then you could just edit your content. So you can see that. So we have patterns. These are still being added. So as time goes on, you're going to see a whole lot of them. So it's like I said earlier, the new block editor is really powerful, and then it brings a whole lot of possibilities to what you can do with WordPress within the editor. As time goes on, I'm confident this is going to evolve into a full-fledged site builder. That's how I see the new editor. So it's going to be much more powerful. You'll still be able to use it for something like simple blogging if that's what you do, but if you want to be able to do a design with it, currently it's possible to do to design a full functional website with the block editor, and I hope to be able to cover that in a subsequent meetup as time goes on. Okay, excuse me. All right, so we are going to go back to playing around with the different blocks, and we're going to create our content, and we are going to publish it, and then we're going to preview it. All right, so let's continue. So what we're going to do next, insert an image at the top. So we're going to just click, excuse me, remember to add any block, you either click the plus here or the plus here to load up the block library, and you select the block you want. So we want to add an image, so we're going to either search for image, and then it just brings us the image block, and we just click on it, and it just adds it here for us. So you can choose to upload your image or choose the image from your media library. Your media library is if you have the image uploaded to WordPress already. So you click this, it's going to load your media library and allow you to select an image from your media library. To upload means to simply upload that image from your computer. Inside from URL means the image is available on the web, and it's publicly available on the web. You put the URL of that image, and it's just going to bring it right here into your post for you. Imagine how amazing that is. So I don't have the image yet, so we're going to upload it. So I'm going to click on upload, and I'm going to quickly find the image here. All right, so I'm going to use this image. All right, take note of something. If you look at the right hand side of my screen, it has given me option for formatting this image. So you can see that I can make it rounded if I want. Imagine. So this allows me to even put some styling to the image. I can make it rounded by clicking this. I can leave it at the default option, and it gives me, you can see this is the style here. So rounded, to make it rounded, or to make it the default. So you could put your alternative text. Alternative text is something we use in SEO. For instance, let's say this image did not load properly. It's just going to show that text you had written. So for instance, if you had an image of if you have an image of Son du Café on a part of your post, it's always good to put alternate text that is part of that this image is. You could just call that Son du Café, or you can put your alt text or alternative text as Son du Café. What it does is, let's say if someone is if the image could not load, someone they are just going to see Son du Café there as the text, just which is going to say, oh, that there's a placeholder that an image of Son du Café is supposed to be here. And search engine spider also crawl that, and then it's part of how they can tell what an image is about. So this is just a Gutenberg banner. So I'm just going to say Gutenberg banner. So I can also, you can see on the image size, I can make it large, I can make it full size, I can make it medium, and all that. So I'm just going to leave it at large, so you can see the control you have. You can also drag this image, so without, you can also go anywhere on the image at the edges where you see these dots, so you can drag and to resize it to how you want it. So you can make it big, you can also make it small. All right, so you can also set a width, the width and the height here. You can also use percentage, so you can make it 100%, 25%, and what have you. So I'm just going to make this large. All right, and then the advanced option, which allows you to put some other stuff like the title attribute, HTML anchor, or a CSS class for styling it using custom CSS. All right, okay. And one amazing thing about this block editor is that you can also change the position of these. So if I wanted to change the position of these, you've seen this down arrow here. Please just follow my cursor. If I click this, it's just going to bring this image block down. So it's going to bring the image down. I can also take it up, and if I want to remove it, I can also click these three dots. Okay, so let me quickly explain what we have here. So this is to change the block type. So I can change this to another block. So I can change this to the cover block, and this is to control the position, the up and down arrow. If I click down, it moves it down. If I click up, it moves it up. This is to change the alignment. So I can make it to align at the center, at the left, which will push it to the left. I can align it to, I can make it full width, which is just going to make it really big. and full width is just going to make it to fill up. Let me preview that. It's just going to make it to, you see, it's just going to make it to fill up the whole page. So full width will make it the full width of that entire post page. So I can, let me put this at, I'm just going to put this at the center and then preview again, and then it's just going to show you the normal way how it ought to be like within a post. So you can see that. All right, so we are going to add another block. Okay, so the next thing we want to do, we are going to add a little content, and then I'm going to show you how to add video. So I'm going to copy this and just paste this here. So by default, once you see this start writing or typing, or by default when you hit the enter key and you're on a new line, automatically it's at the paragraph block, which also makes this writing. I hear people complain that it's difficult for blogging, for writing, but the amazing thing about this is that once once you hit enter, you are automatically on a new paragraph. So it means you can just start typing or writing, which is just so cool. So I'm going to paste. Okay, I copied some text. I'm not going to paste it yet. I'm going to embed a YouTube video, which I'm just going to go to YouTube and let me see. Let me find a video on YouTube. Hi, I can actually see there are people joining from my YouTube channel. Hi, it's great to have you joining. Alright, so I'm just going to copy this video. So I'm just going to grab the URL, and have you seen that? So to embed a YouTube video, there are two ways you do that. So you just copy the video URL. So either it could be when you're watching the video. So I can click this video and I'm watching, I copy the URL from here. I'm going to quickly pause this so it doesn't interrupt our live stream. So you just copy the video URL and then you come to the editor. Anywhere you are in the editor, once you are just on a new line, you just paste the URL and it's going to automatically embed your YouTube video. That's one way. Another way is to use the video blog. So you can just click the plus sign and then you can use the embed or the YouTube blog. So you do the embed blog, it's going to ask you to paste a link to the content you want to display on your site. So you put, and then what this embed blog is going to automatically convert it to the type of embed it is. For instance, if this is a YouTube video that it actually is, it's going to automatically change it to the embed blog. So it's going to automatically detect what blog is best for this and use that blog. So if I do embed, you've seen that it has changed it to the YouTube blog. I can also do the plus icon, which is the blog library icon, and then I can just select the YouTube blog and then it's going to say enter URL to embed. Yes, I can paste the URL and then click embed and it's going to embed it. Alright, I'm going to just remove some of this. To remove, you just click on your video and you click these three dots and you're going to see the remove block. So you just do remove block and it's going to remove it. I'm going to also come and select this again, click this remove block and it's going to remove it. Alright, okay, so you can see that, and this also, you can see that all of them, all the blogs have options for formatting. So this, if you click this, allows you to make it wide width, so you can make the video wider. Let me preview this so you can see that it's going to make the video is going to become, you've seen that it's wider than every other thing. So you can also come and can also make this video full width, which is going to make it much wider than it already was, and then you can also align it center and it's going to come back normal to how it's supposed to be. So this gives you a whole, the new block editor just gives you a whole lot of control, which is what we all want, control when we are trying to publish with WordPress. Alright, so I'm going to show you another way to embed a video, and that could be using the use the code block. So for this, okay, let's hope that I'm not mistaken. For this, I'm going to do share and then do embed. I want to copy the code for embedding this video. So there are several ways you can embed. So either you can copy the URL and just paste anywhere within your content, or you can copy the URL and use the embed or the YouTube blog or the Vimeo blog, depending on the type of video it is. Or you could do share and then you can do embed and then you copy. So the code block, if you want to add a code snippet, anything that maybe like an HTML form and so on, anything that requires code, you use it to do your stuff. So if we add that, I want to be sure I've not missed something. Give me a moment. Let me be sure that I added the right block. So okay, no, that would have been this. Okay, so for the code block, you can use it to write your custom code. I think I'm missing something here because it's not giving me what I need. Let me do a quick preview. Alright, so this code is not working here. See. Okay. Alright, so this is not accepting this type of code. Let's see, is there another code? Okay, so I'm just going to move ahead and then I'm just going to come back with that. But if you wanted to write custom code and all that, that's what you use the code block for. Alright, okay, so let me quickly remove this. I'm just going to do remove block, and I'm going to get some paragraph of text again. So I'm going to copy this, come right here, and I need a little space. I'm going to just paste that in, and let's see what next are we going to do. Alright, so we're going to do a quote. So let's look for, let me get out a quote. Let's see. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly grab this quote and then use it to show us how to use the quote block. So I'm just going to hit enter and then add block, and then I'm just going to click on the quote block. If you can't find it, you just search for it. So I'm going to add a quote. So I'm going to paste my quote in there. If I know the quote author, I can just put it in. I don't want to take time, so I'm just going to just simply put let me just put unknown. Yep, let me just put that unknown. I'm just going to put unknown author. Let me preview that so you see what that looks like. So you've seen that this is now a quote. Okay, and what block is next? Next we're going to use a list block. So let's say list of top places to visit in Nigeria. I want something that lists, let's say top WordPress plugins list. I want something that shows us a list. So quickly, I think I spelled the plugins wrongly. Alright, so I'm not getting the list the way I want it, so I'm just going to find something that uses list. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this list here, or I can just quickly type that in. So I'm going to do plus to go to the block library, and I'm going to select the list block, and let's say this is list of top WordPress plugin. Let's say my list of top WordPress plugin, that would be Jetpack is always my number one, Akismet, the spam plugin, and you have Yoast SEO, and you have Wordfence for security. You have Wordfence, and then there will be W3 total catch, and there will be updraft for backup, updraft, or all-in-one WP migration. Any of them I use either. All right, okay, so this is, I'm going to show you how that works. So you're just going to create a list with that. So you've seen, so that just gives you a list. This is a bulleted list. You can also decide to change this to, this is a bulleted list or an ordered list. So you can change this to an ordered list, which is simply a numbered list, a list of that number stuff, maybe 1 2 3 4 5. So you can see that right here. So this shows you just how powerful this is. Now, though we call this the block editor, and we're writing everything using blocks, you can see that on our front end that it just shows the normal way the text will show, even if we're writing it with the whole editor. So the block editor is called the block editor basically because you use different blocks to create your content, which is actually an interesting way to create content and gives you a whole lot of power and flexibility. Okay, so let's move forward. So I'm going to use the heading block. So imagine that we wanted to have, let me take this out. So let's say we wanted to have an heading before these plugins I listed. So I can put an heading block, and I could say my top WordPress plugins. I want this up here, so I'm just going to do this up arrow here, and then just going to move it up for me. So my top WordPress plugins, and you notice that at the right hand side it's just going to give me control over this. I could decide to say I want to make this large, I want to make it larger. I could say the default size, I could say the custom font size, maybe 18 or whatever I want. So let me just make it large, and we can come right here and then we can preview it to see what it looks like. You see I have an heading. Now some of these stuff we did not have, we've never had this level of control in WordPress before when it has to do with the editor. So when it has to do with editing posts or editing pages, never before have we had the level of control the block editor gives us. I can understand if you don't like the new editor yet, but one of the things I would say is just give it time, just try to use it, and then you understand how powerful it is. I'm going to be honest with you, initially when the new editor was released, I didn't like it. Why? Because I had gotten so used to the whole editor. You know, when you've gotten so accustomed to stuff, and at times we are scared of change because we are not sure if it's a good change. It's like the type of change we're promised in Nigeria, and it ended up the way it is. Well, I didn't say anything, but if you give the new editor a try, I can guarantee you that it's something you will love, because if you're creative, you can do literally anything with this. So imagine that you can arrange all these. All right, okay, let me show you something really interesting. This is something that before maybe you probably would have needed to write lines of code to do this, and it's something very simple. Add a button. So let's say you wanted to add a button to this post. So this could be a post, this could be a page, this could be anything. So imagine you wanted to add a button that says maybe get started. We're writing a post about something and you wanted to say get started. So we can use the button block. You can search for it and we click on it, and we could just write what we want, maybe get started. And if you look at the right hand side of the sidebar, you're going to see control options. So it's going to give you formatting options for this button block. Remember, any block you are, it's going to give you options to format that block. So we get back to the button block. Oops, I spelled started wrongly. Let me correct that. Alright, so you can see if you want the styles, fill, or outline, you can see how that changes the design, and you can change the border radius. So we can increase this radius to make this rounded. I'm sure you've seen buttons that have this round radius like this. So we don't even need to do any code for this, so we can just drag it, or we can add the radius we want. We don't want this again. If we don't want this again, we can quickly reset it, and we can add a link where we want someone to be taken to when they click this button. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to copy my website URL and put in here, and we can set if we want this link to open in a new tab right here, and let's preview. So you see how that looks. You see, so we've added a get started button without having to install any plugin. Now these are some of the things that if you needed to do, you would have had to install a plugin or write some lines of code, but it's now seamless with the new editor. So look at how amazing that is. All right, so we're going to play around with another blog. Let me add some more text for us just to be able to demonstrate this well. We're going to paste, and you can also do the Control Z or Z depending on what you call it to undo and redo, just like you would in a word editor. So Control Z, or if you're on a Mac, so you can do Command Z and all that, and that also works here. Okay, so I'm thinking of the next thing to do. Okay, so we've inserted an image, YouTube video, we've add post, we've added quote, we've add list. Okay, let me show you something interesting, something you normally will want to do. Let's search for a blog. Okay, let's see. Okay, so you can see we have so you can say social icons. We even have the social icons blog, which allows you to link to social media platforms. So you can link to your Facebook from a post or a page. Let me grab the link to the WordPress Nigeria Facebook group. So let's say I was writing about the WordPress Nigeria community, so I can add the Facebook link, I can add Twitter, I can't even remember the Twitter, so I'm just going to add my personal Twitter. So you can add the URL, so you just paste the URL and then you click this arrow here to apply it, and if you come here and then we preview, you're going to see those two icons are going to show up. So you can see the icon showing up. So imagine how cool that is, and this is within the editor. So you can do all this whether you're writing a post or you are creating a page. So imagine the power and the flexibility this gives you. Okay, so let me see what again can we do. By the way, this is supposed to be the last one. How we have just 9 minutes more, so I'm going to be rounding this up. I'm going to demonstrate one more blog and then I'll round this up to allow you to ask questions, because I'm sure you have them. All right, so one other thing I want to show us is the cover block. So I could have changed this, I can change this to the cover block, or I could just add the cover block here, and media library, I have the image I want to use. I'm going to select the media library, select the image, and I can set the alignment of this. So I want this to be wide width, and what makes this interesting is that you can add text on top of it. So I could say welcome to our site. I want to open your eyes to some possibility right now, and where's the button? Blogs. So I'm going to add this, get started. I want you to think of what you can do with the block editor. That's why I'm doing this. So imagine, so we can even add 2 blocks on top of this. You can do learn more, give me a moment. So we can preview this, and you're going to see that all that are going to appear on top of this image. Where do you normally see this? You normally will see this in a website banner. I just want to wow you. I want you to think about when I say you can create a full functional website with this, think about it. Websites you visit, what do they look like? So just give it a thought and you will know what I mean. And by the way, there's a very interesting blog, which is the columns blog. You've seen website with different columns and all that. So imagine that you had, let me show you how this works. So I can add a content to this column and to this column. So what I want to do is to add a paragraph of text here. Let me quickly grab this, and yeah, I'm going to add an image here just to demonstrate this. And let me preview so you see what that is going to do. So it will help you. So look at it. So you can see that the columns allows us to put stuff side by side, just like you have columns in Excel. So this is a column, this is a column. So you can get creative with this, and you can do a whole lot with it. So this is this. Let me do that again. So you can see with the cover block, they can put stuff on the cover block. So you can put even columns on top of the cover block. So I could decide to have a column here, and I can use this for. I can add a button here. I could say get started, and then I can add another button here. So this could be learn more, and because it's on, let me delete this. So I'm going to do remove block. Oops. So remove block, and remember this is on a column, so this basically just gives me more control. So the difference between the cover block and the image block is the image block you cannot drop other items on top, but with the cover block you can have an image as your background, and then you can drop other items on top. So let's say you have a banner, and then you can have some text on top of it. So there's a whole lot you can do with this, but it's not possible to cover what the possibility this offers in an hour. So this was just a quick rundown of the WordPress Gutenberg block editor, and I hope you've learned something new. All right, so feel free to throw those questions at me. What wasn't clear? Do you have questions? Let me I'll be happy to answer your questions, so feel free to ask the question and just type in that in the comment, and I'm going to be able to see. Before I go into that, I'm just going to publish this, and you see our post is live, so you can just click here to view post, and that is our post. So we've published, and we can also create a page, and the interface is also going to look exactly the same way when you're creating a page. So let's say you wanted to build a website with all these blocks. You can turn all these blocks into a full functional website. What do I mean? How does a business website look? You go, probably you see a banner, which you could do with a cover block. You put a paragraph block to put the text. You could use the column blocks to create different columns, and you have the buttons block, which you could use to create the buttons. And if you're just a blogger, you're good already. You just come in and you can start typing. You can use the image block to hide your image, to hide your images. If you want to link to your social media pages, you can use the blocks for the social icons, which I demonstrated earlier, and all that. So the possibility with this is limitless, and the key advantage for me is that this is new for everyone. So if you wanted to learn or to get into the WordPress ecosystem for a long time and you haven't been able, this gives you an opportunity. The reason being that we are all learning to use this, and development for this is also new. So people are just starting to develop extensions that expands the functionality this brings. So you can also dive in, and then you also start developing extensions that add more functionalities to Gutenberg, that brings more features into the block editor. So like I said, the possibilities this gives is basically endless, and I hope within these few minutes you've been able to learn something new. So please go ahead and throw in your questions. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen and just go back to the video. Okay, all right, great. So if you have questions, go ahead and ask your question. Let me see what wasn't clear, what do you need clarification on. Excuse me. All right, so question, do you have any question? I'll be happy to take your question, to ask a question. All right, so Kingsley, I have seen Kingsley Philip, pardon me, is joining us live from Malawi, and I can see Sir Basi joining us live from New York. Hello sir, great to have you joining. And 2Gem says Outstanding. Watching from Rio. Hi James, great to see you. And I can see Blessing Ukima is joining us straight from Rio. Hi Blessing, great to see you. And there are several comments here. Okay, someone say I couldn't get his name. It says, thanks so much, I've learned to see and use Gutenberg differently. That was the essence of today's meetup, because people have had the wrong perspective of the blog editor, and I'm so glad that some of you have a new perspective of this editor. The new editor is so powerful, trust me. If you don't like it, most times it's basically because you've not really given it time. So give it a little while and just use it, and you see how powerful it is. And if you have a good imagination like I do, and you imagine the things I imagine with it, you know that what you can do with it is basically limitless. Okay, we have another user here who says, I can already imagine the tons of stuff I can achieve. It's also now better when handing over a site to my client. They can now create blog posts with more control using Gutenberg. No questions for now. Awesome. I'm glad you learned something new, and you also think that Gutenberg is a powerful editor. All right, for those of you who are just hearing a lot about Gutenberg and blog editor, I don't know what it is. It is a WordPress editor. And if you don't know what WordPress is an open source content management system for building sites, blogs, stores, and apps. What you can build with WordPress is basically endless. It's the most popular website creation tool, and you can join us. You can join the WordPress Nigeria community group to learn to use WordPress. We will show you how to use WordPress for free. For now, we are doing webinars like this that teaches you how to use WordPress on a weekly basis. So every Sunday, currently by 5 p.m, we do a meetup like this on how to use WordPress. Let me see if I can share a link to our group here. All right, I don't have the give me a moment. All right, so you see the instruction on how to join the WordPress Nigeria community group at the bottom of your screen. Thank you so much, those of you joining us from the Lekki WordPress meetup, from the WooCommerce community, and so on. It's great to have you all joining. Please make sure you're on the WordPress Nigeria community Facebook group, because that's where you'll be able to join in on future meetups. And if you have any question on this or any WordPress related question, please go to the WordPress Nigeria community Facebook group and ask your question. It's 2 minutes past 6. This was supposed to be wrapped up by 6. So thank you so much for joining in. And closing words, there's no limit to what you can do with the Gutenberg blog editor. If you're looking to pursue a career in WordPress, this gives you a whole lot of opportunities, most especially if you're new to WordPress. The reason being that it's new, we're all learning to use it, and there's also great opportunities in development since this is still being developed. So you can build extensions that help enhance this. You could build free extensions, you could build premium extensions and sell, and also make tons of money. Thank you all for joining in. I hope you learned something new, and don't forget to join the WordPress Nigeria community Facebook group. Have a great evening. Bye.